Hello and welcome to Magical Travel Adventure. I am Lauren, your host, and today we are going to be talking about some Disney Cruise Line basics so you know all about Disney Cruise Line and get some information to decide if it's the right vacation for you and maybe what might be the right vacation for you. If you're new here, hello, I am Lauren. I'm a travel advisor. I specialize in Disney destinations, Universal Studios, and cruising. So Disney and cruising all together in one. And I help people plan vacations so that they have personalized vacations for them, not what the internet says you should do or not what your friends and family say you must do. All right, so as we talk today about Disney Cruise, just know I am trying to make it as less complicated as possible, but it is complicated and it works totally different than any other cruise line out there. So you will hear me talk about things that are totally different than other cruise lines. But first, let's talk about the cruise lines. So, as a cruise line, as of March 2023, there are 5 cruise ships that Disney Cruise Line currently has. There is going to be more. They're adding them as we speak. So, hopefully, in 2024, by the end of 2024, we will have another new ship. But this is there are 3 classes of ships. So the first class of ship was the classic ships, the first ships. This is the Wonder right here, and this is one of the classic ships. And the other one is the Magic, and these are considered the classic ships. And they're smaller. They have 11 decks, and they won't have absolutely everything. People love one way or the other. The classic ships are not. Some people have been sailing them since they first opened up, so they have a real attachment to them. You'll find that unlike other cruise lines, people get really attached to specific cruise, like the actual ship. So there are some people who will say, well, I'm only going to take the Magic. I don't care where it's sailing out of. I'm going to only take cruises that the Magic is on. You're going to have great service. You're going to have great people on the ship no matter what. You're going to enjoy yourself no matter what. So I just want to put that out there. But it's a big fan-based community. So this is the Dream, and it's part of the Dream class. So the Dream and the Fantasy are part of the Dream class. And as you can see, these ships don't look on the outside that different. They look pretty similar. The difference between the Dream and the Fantasy in the Magic and the Wonder is the Dream and the Fantasy have more decks. There are other features too, but I'm just saying that the Dream and the Fantasy are larger ships than the Magic and the Wonder. Then the newest ship that just came out is the Wish. That is part of the Triton class. And there should be 2 more ships coming out of the Triton class in the next couple of years. So in 2024, at the end of 2024, we're expecting another ship. But it possibly won't be till 2025. And then a third Triton class ship that is the same. These ships are all pretty much, they look the same inside. The layout is the same, where the rooms are set up are the same. The type of dining that they have is all the same. So it doesn't really matter if you're on the same class of ship, typically it's pretty much the same. If I was on the Dream and the Fantasy, those would be very similar ships. Because they're in the same class, but they're going to be different than the Magic and the Wonder, and of course the Wish. So let's talk about booking. Now, booking is its own class. To book a Disney cruise, you need some sort of knowledge. How Disney works is about 18 months before the sailing date, Disney releases groups of sailing. So they'll do summer, they'll do fall, or sometimes they'll do winter sailings. But typically there's about 3 releases a year about the different upcoming sailings for Disney Cruise Line. And how it works is currently it's March 2023. They just released the summer 2024 sailings. And how it works is the more Disney cruise lines you've ever taken, it doesn't matter what ship, you get preference into booking your cruise before the general public. And that's super important because the earlier you can book a Disney cruise, that's how you can get the best price. People always say, oh, is there a discount for Disney Cruise Line? Typically, no. Sometimes during COVID and post-COVID, we have gotten some discounted sailings, but not a ton. And that's because Disney Cruise Line sells itself. People book the cruise no matter the price. To get the best pricing, you want to book the week that the sailings are released. Now, it's going to vary if you've never booked a Disney cruise. Obviously, you don't get to book early like these people here. But if you can book that first day that it's open to the general public, that's going to save you some money in the long run. So let's talk about it. Now, the Pearl is a new class, and it technically doesn't start until May of 2023, but I put it in here because hopefully people are still watching this video after May 2023. So Pearl is a new Castaway. Once you've done a Disney cruise, you're in this thing called Castaway Club. And the Pearl is the highest level you can be. It's for people who have completed more than 25 cruises or more. So that means you have completed your 25th cruise. On your 26th cruise, you are now a Pearl Castaway Club member. So it's not at your 25th cruise, it's at your 26th. And you get to book 4 days before everyone else. So that means when cruises come out, you get to book 4 days before everyone else. You also get to book your experiences, like your excursions and things like that, before your sail date. You also get complimentary Palo Dining, which is a specialty dining restaurant for adults, and an unlimited photo package. There are other things, but I tried to pick out the most important, or what I thought were the most important aspects of them. If you're a platinum member, it means you've completed 10 sailings. So on your 11th sailing or above, you get to book 3 days before everyone else and book your experiences 120 days before sailing. And you also get complimentary Palo Dining. I will say that in order to book these experiences that I'm talking about, you also have to have paid in full for your cruise. So you get access to this, but you also have to pay in full. So just remember that in a Disney Cruise Line, that until you pay in full, they will not let you book anything extra. For gold, after you've completed 5, so on your 6th sailing or more, you get to book 2 days before everyone else, and 105 days before sailing, you can book experiences and you get a private onboard reception. For silver, that means you've completed at least one Disney cruise, and you get 1 day before everyone else, and you can book your experiences 90 days ahead of time, and you get a welcome gift aboard. So just some basics. So if you're a general sailor, on the 5th day, you get to book, and you get to book your experiences 75 days before sailing. And you get to go on a Disney cruise. So Disney Cruise Line does sail in many locations. They're not all year round, and it's different ships, sometimes different years. So it's going to change all the time, but these are the main ports that Disney will sail out of. Port Canaveral is what we call the main port, but not really. So are Fort Lauderdale and Miami. Those 3 Florida places are the main locations where Disney is going to sail out of most of the year, weather-wise. New Orleans also has some, and Galveston has some. New York has some during certain times of the year. San Diego, certain times of the year. Honolulu is very selective. It's not all the time. There is a new one that's going from Hawaii out to Australia. So, that's a new cruise coming out there. Vancouver, if you're doing an Alaskan cruise, you're going to be going out of Vancouver. You will not be going out of Seattle with Disney. San Juan, England, Spain, Denmark, Australia, New Zealand. So besides the top 3 in Florida, it's going to vary what times of years you're going to be going and the ship and all that stuff. The ships are going to change where they go a lot of times, but not always. There are certain restrictions in the world of heights and gross tonnage and things like that with cruise lines. So only certain certain ships can go certain places. So just know that some ships will only go to certain locations. If you're looking for like the newest ship, the Disney Wish, it only goes out of Port Canaveral and it only does 3-night and 4-night sailings. All right, let's look in the staterooms. And this is from basically the Dream or the Fantasy or the Magic or the Wonder. None of these pictures are from the Wish, but there are inside staterooms, ocean view staterooms, balcony staterooms, and concierge. And they're going to vary in between, but I just wanted to show you something so you could see it. If you look, there is a porthole up here in the inside stateroom, and this is typically showing you what's going outside with fun Disney elements also going. So it's like a screen that's in your room. That's a big thing now in cruise lines, but Disney was the first, I think. And it's kind of nice if you're in an inside stateroom. This is an ocean view, that porthole that you're going to get. The balconies, they're really, really nice. They're larger. And then the concierge rooms, and they vary. Okay, so as if booking a Disney cruise isn't complicated enough, there's this other thing that Disney loves to do, and it's called rotational dining. That is that dining is going to vary for each night. So on a typical cruise, you have a main dining room and you have a seating time, either, like 5:30 or 8:30. On Disney Cruise Line, you still have those two times. Just know that the earlier time, the 5:15 time, is typically very popular because Disney Cruise Line is still there's going to be more kids than on other cruise lines. So that earlier dining time is very popular. If that is important to you, it's something to know right away. If you're working with a travel advisor, if you're doing it yourself, that's something you're picking when you're booking your cruise. So you want to make sure that you pick the time you want and understand that it might sell out. Like there might not be any more availability for that early dining time. There are ways to ask when you get on the ship to see if you can get that earlier dining time, but it's not guaranteed unless you have it booked before you go on your trip. So just know that. Rotational dining means that you have 3 different dining rooms that you will travel to at different nights. So instead of 1 main dining room, there's 3 main dining rooms. And the dining rooms are like the main events. It's like part show sometimes and part meal. So unlike a regular dining experience and a main dining where like, okay, you get your servers and they come out and they talk to you and you get this and you have food and you're just talking to people along the way, there's more of an entertainment portion in each of these dining rooms. And the goal is that, in a 3-night sailing, you would go 1 night into each dining room. You will see on the back of the card that you use, the Key to the World card. I think it's Key to the World even on the ships, but that card that you get that opens your room door, that will tell you on the back where you're going for your dining each night. And there's different dining on different ships, so it's kind of hard, but there's going to be 3 that you're going to go to. And during that time, if you're going like at a 4-night sailing or a 5-night sailing or 7-night sailing, you're going to rotate back into some of these into these dining options. So you might have more than one option to go. This is Animator's Palette over here. You might go into Animator's Palette twice on a 4-night cruise because you have to repeat something. If there is one dining option that you really, really, really want to repeat, make sure that you speak up and ask about that, because that is super important also. There are some themed dining areas, like there is the Rapunzel dining room where there's a little Rapunzel show. On the Wish, there is a Frozen one. So there's going to be different ones that have more of this experience dining, which is almost like character dining, but not quite, because they're not coming around to maybe to each of your tables all the time. Okay, I know it's a lot. The other thing that people absolutely love is if you are doing a cruise, typically out of Florida, you will go to Castaway Cay. And Castaway Cay is the private island for Disney Cruise Line. And there's a lot of great features. This is the Pelican Plunge, where it has water slides. You can get a cabana if possible. There is beaches. It's super large, but a lot of people want to come to the private island of Castaway Cay, and people love this. They love it. There is going to, in 2024, there is a new private island called Lighthouse Point, and it's going to be south of Castaway Cay. And it's going to be an addition. So some sailings are going to have both going to Castaway Cay and to Lighthouse Point. So private islands just mean that Disney has control over how the island is set up, what they offer there, how they incorporate the natives, and they're able to maintain the beaches so that it's not like going to a Caribbean island where, you're just stopping by for the day and whatever the beach looks like that island decides to do, that's the beach that you get to visit. So this has a little more control. It has some special Disney touches. If you go snorkeling, you might find some special Disney treasures along the way. So there's a lot of fun stuff with the private island, and a lot of people like it. Now, if you're going on Alaskan cruise, guess what? You're not going to the private island because that's nowhere near Alaska. Now, there are special holiday sailings. The two big ones are Halloween and Christmas. So that means that there are sailings that will include all this holiday stuff where the characters are dressed up in Halloween outfits. There's fun activities on board that are based on that. It's decorated on board for Halloween. Same thing with Christmas sailings. They are not for every cruise ship and every cruise. So it will say when you're booking it, like, do you want to book a Halloween cruise? Things like that. So you can look at that and see if that's something that interests you. Like my son is obsessed with Halloween. So he would love going on to a Halloween cruise and experiencing it and seeing it and all that kind of stuff. So you just need to know that that's a possibility. The other type of theme sailing that they have are a Pixar Day and a Marvel sailings. And those kind of vary. That just means that they have the Marvel or the superhero Marvel or Pixar characters on board. They'll have special activities. You can bring costumes yourself so that you can dress up like these characters. You can meet these characters, because meeting characters is part of a Disney cruise. It's not as involved as if you're going to Disney World, but if the Disney Cruise Line has an app, it's called the Navigator app. And in the app, every day you can see, okay, the characters are meeting here at this time, so I can go and meet the characters at this time. And it's much more enjoyable, maybe because you don't have to stand outside as much in the heat. But you can definitely find which characters are going to be there at what times and things like that. So when you're booking, it's important that you understand those sailings also. Now, the kids clubs are very different than they are on any other sailing out there. So Disney Cruise Line obviously specializes with kids. And in this way, Disney Cruise Line has these kids clubs that are free as long as your kids are above 3 and are potty trained. That they can enjoy these special kids clubs. And I have just some pictures of what like a glance of it looks like, but they are more extensive than this. Typically the kids are coming in, this is all the way on the end is showing a hand washing station for kids, because on cruises, even before COVID, we're super big on washing our hands and staying clean and germ free. So they have you wash your hands a lot. And then there are different play areas that the kids can go into. They have sort of like a sciencier area for some kids where they're doing like fun experiments. And they have things for older kids also. So it kind of goes all ranges. If your kid is between 6 months and 3 years old and they are not potty trained and they need to go to the nursery, it is available. You just need to pay for it. So, depending on when you need it and things like that, you're going to be paying for that. But it is an option so that you can, have some adult time if you would like it. Now, the other thing that I did not put on here is there are there's a spa. Senses Spa is on the cruises, and there are fitness centers. So, if you are adults and you can put your kids in those kids clubs so you can enjoy the spa and things like that, it is an amazing thing. Overall, when we're talking about Disney cruises, I think it's really hard for people to understand that there are different nights for sailings. So a lot of times, like out of Port Canaveral, there's 3 and 4 night sailings. So if I'm going specifically, the Port Canaveral is the closest port to Disney World. Let's say I go to Disney World for a few days, then we're going on a Disney cruise. Those 3 and 4 night sailings are maybe not when you want them to happen. So 3 night sailings often out of Port Canaveral they start on Friday, you get on Friday, and you get off Monday. But the 4 night sailings, you're getting on Monday and you're getting off Friday. So that's pretty much that week. Most people work Monday through Friday. So if you're trying to plan, like I really love going on 4 night cruises, but it's like impossible for me to book that because it just doesn't work in our schedule. It's really hard for me to get my husband to be able to take off Monday through Friday to go on that cruise with us. I can more easily get a 3 night cruise in, but that means I don't get that extra day where you're on the cruise and it's just a sea day. So I don't have as much time to explore the ship. Currently, the Wish only does 3 and 4 night sailings, which means you can't do a 7 night cruise on the Wish unless you book a 3 night cruise and a 4 night cruise the following cruise, so that you would actually get on and off twice, but you'd be on the ship for 7 days. Some sailings are seasonal. So a lot of times people are like, oh, I can't wait to go to Alaska. Can I go in January? I have all this time off in January. No one sails in Alaska in January typically, so don't look for that. So you kind of have to see when those sailings are available. And sometimes that surprises people. So just throwing that out there. Fireworks. On every Disney cruise, there are fireworks one night. So that is super fun. There's also something called Pirate Night where you can dress up like pirates and there's pirate themes, and Mickey and Minnie and everyone else, they dress up like pirates and there's a special pirate show on the deck. So there are a lot of added things and a lot of entertainment on the ship. And there's nightly shows in the theater. So you can also enjoy those. But you do need to know if you're going on the Magic and then you go on the Magic a year later, the shows are typically the same that they were a year before on the Magic a year later, even if you're on a different sailing, meaning you're doing a different itinerary. So you do need to understand that the shows are going to repeat. So that's going to, you might not always want to go on the same ship, so you maybe get some different shows. Deposits are 20%. So it depends on how many people are in your party. It depends on what kind of trip you're going on, but deposits are typically 20%. And then your full payment is due in order to make any reservations. So making reservations are things like excursions or booking a cabana on the private islands. So this way, Castaway Cay. So it's kind of hard. It's kind of confusing. I tried to not talk about everything in this, but I'm just trying to give you an overview because Disney Cruise Line is a fantastic product. And the best part about the product are the people who work on those ships. Those people are working so hard. They want you to have a fantastic trip. They care so much about you. And there are people that will go on Disney Cruise Line vacations again because they want the same server. They want the same room attendant. They want, the greeter that's around. They want that person. the people on the ship that help make Disney Cruise Line so wonderful. I know I've had a client that specifically always wants to go on the same cruise. They find out when the server is working and they want to book those cruises. So people get very attached to the people that work on the ship, and they follow them to different places also. Now, I didn't talk about any specialty dining, but Paolo and Remy, depending on your ship, are going to be the specialty dining. There is not as much specialty dining as there are on other cruises, and kids are not allowed in the specialty dining rooms. So be aware of that when you're booking those. Maybe I'll do a separate video to help you guys out about that, just on dining, because dining on Disney Cruise Line seems to be such a different beast for everyone. So, all right, let me know what questions you have in the comments. And if you need help booking your next Disney Cruise Line vacation, let me know. And I will see you next time on Magical Travel Adventure. Bye.